Natsuki, wait!
Why, Hallie? You saw the look on Monika's face. I caused that.
Natsuki once again gives me that same look of guilt. I try to open my mouth, but nothing comes out. More silence follows.
I'm gonna go home. I just don't feel like I belong here right now.
And with that, Natsuki turns on her heel and starts going to leave. As much as I want her to come back, I am not going to force her force her to do so. After running my hands through my hair, I head back into the club room. Once I'm back in, I notice that Monika still hasn't moved from the front desk. Yuri, however, is pacing around the room, almost like she's pondering her next decision. As I shut the door behind me, Yuri's gaze locks onto me as I walk toward the center of the room. This way, Yuri stands on my left whilst Monika stays on my right.
This is bad.
The way Yuri said that is proof that she's concerned. As I look back at Monika, I swear I can hear the faint sound of her crying. I'd say it's my brain playing tricks on me, but if that was the case, why would it be crying? I sigh, not making eye contact with Yuri. I know. Out of all the time I have known Monika, be it from around school or since my time at the club, I've never seen her get like this. 2 words, be in it. I hear gentle footsteps making their way towards me, Yuri's footsteps. She looks right into my eyes, the mind hidden beyond those deep lavender eyes, presumably working like clockwork as she tries to find the words to say.
I do have to ask though, Hallie. What made you want to join this club?
The emphasis on the word you makes a personal question all the more personal. I think for a bit. To be completely honest, I hadn't really decided why I joined the club beyond the atmosphere being quite relaxed. But the more I think about it, the more I realize that might just be a perfectly justifiable reason for wanting to join. A nice, quiet environment to cool off, relax, and maybe do a bit of reading? I'm certain most people would want that. With a sigh, I relay my thoughts back to Yuri, who simply listens attentively. She's got a natural talent.
I think I feel the same way.
She smiles with a thoughtful spark in her eyes. It's a spark that I don't usually see unless she's reading. I get why Natsuki is hesitant about new members, though. Like, who knows what getting new members would do for the atmosphere of the club? Yuri ponders this for a moment.
Like a quality over quantity sort of thing?
Yeah, sorta. I've only been part of the club for a few days, and I can tell everyone brings something special to it. I'm not opposed to getting anyone new, it's just...
Complicated?
I nod as Yuri completes my sentence. She sighs and relaxes her arms.
I think I understand. I usually prefer more relaxed environments that I can share with a friend or two. It might become a bit harder to manage with more members. Not to mention, more people tends to lead to more conflict, which I'm not too keen on happening.
You and I both. Yuri's eyes then focus in on me, piercing through my retinas. I before E in piercing. She's blushing faintly.
Besides, I really enjoy how the club is now.
Another brief moment of silence follows. However, this time there's this weird tinge of awkwardness to it all. And E before I in weird. Whether it's because of how Yuri phrased that or something else, I've got no idea. There's just something about the way Yuri looks at me. Something I can't... The silence is then broken by the sound of a chair moving against the wood floor.
Hallie, Yuri.
Mine and Yuri's shared gaze focuses on Monika, who wipes her eyes before continuing.
I know I'm asking a lot at the festival. And if you're not up for it, I understand. But regardless, I'm really glad to call you my friends.
She caps that off with an almost traditional Monika smile. Almost simply because there was this unshakable, somber aura to it. Yuri and I look at each other as if we're telepathically deliberating.
Monika, I know we're both a bit unsure about new members, but if it means anything, I'm fully okay with helping with the festival.
Same here. The smile on Monika's face tells me all I need to know.
Thank you both. I'm gonna finish things up a little earlier today. We'll sort out the festival tomorrow.
And with that, Monika goes back to the front desk whilst Yuri and I start to pack up. After Yuri leaves for the day, I linger around in the club a bit. The room would be silent if not for the clock and the audible sound of... I think for a bit about whether I should ask Monika if she wants to walk back home together. I can't explain why, but Monika's initial reaction to Natsuki's words reminded me of the day Sayori told me about her depression. Just this expression of hopelessness. I walk up to the desk she's at and kneel down to her level. Hey, Monica?
Yeah?
She looks up to meet my gaze. Her eyes seem slightly bloodshot, but the tears seem to have stopped now. I was just wondering. Come on, Hallie, keep it together. Would you like to walk home together? Monica smiles weakly.
I'd love to. But...
Her voice trails off as her gaze fixates on the small stack of paper beside her. School stuff? She nods, seeming quite down. I think a bit more. Tomorrow, maybe? She looks back at me, her smile returning once more.
If I'm free, then absolutely.
I smile back. That definitely seemed to cheer her up a little. I start to move towards the door, and once Monica and I bid goodbye to each other, I'm off back home again. There was no again there, I just read it for some reason. The walk back home was a quiet one, mostly dominated by my thoughts about the club meeting. Maybe if Sayori was there, things might have gone differently. It seems like she has a natural talent for easing people's stress. That being said, I can't help but feel bad for Monica. Again, I know Natsuki didn't mean what she said, but regardless of that, it definitely hurt her. Maybe I should have stayed. I think out loud to myself as I unlock my... Once inside... Phew! I rest my bag against the wall and head to kitchen. Was it really head to kitchen? Yes, it was. Needed thought there. I'm a little hungry, so I quickly make myself a kitchen sandwich. Oh, what is happening to me? A chicken sandwich! And grab a loose can of Pepsi to help wash it down. Whilst eating, I contemplate whether to text Sayori about the incident at the club. The club? How does this keep happening? Actually, in that context, I guess it would work. Like, sometimes you can get away with that. I know Monica will more than likely fill her in, since she's her vice president after all. ... Fuck it, I'll text her. I whip my phone out and get texting. Hey Sayo, Monica will tell you about what happened today. It isn't long until my phone pings in response.
Yeah, she told me. Also, Natsuki apologized.
That helps ease my mind a bit. I text her again. That's a relief. Sayori and I ended up texting for much longer than I thought we would. All the while my mind goes back to Monica. I can't explain why, but I'm wondering how she's doing. I contemplate asking Sayori if she has her number, but that'd a bit weird to ask, right? That'd be a bit weird to ask. I mean, yeah, Sayori knows and seems very hopeful that something may happen, but it's a whole other can of worms asking for her number. Part of me kind of likes to humor the thought. Monica's bedroom, around 3 hours later. What? I guess it's Monica's perspective then.
Why do I still feel bad about lying to him? It's not even that I had that much to do, so it wouldn't have hurt that much to... At least I've got something to look forward to. I toss and turn on my sheets, unable to shake off these feelings. I've suppressed them for so long that I thought they weren't there anymore.
Well, it would be suppressed, and it needs 2 P's. There we go. Like something's wrong there.
Why am I trying to hide it? I sigh, curling up and grabbing one of my pillows and cling to it. As my breathing steadies, he pops into my head once again, causing my grip on the... Even when he's not here, he manages to comfort me. Maybe that schoolgirl crush of mine never truly died.
Aw, it's mutual. The dreaded sound of my alarm wakes me up. If it wasn't for the fact that it was my phone, I would have thrown it against the wall years ago. With a long, tired sigh, I force myself up and stretch before getting into my morning routine. I swear Friday mornings drag on too bloody long, but hey, I'm here now. As usual, I check my timetable for today's classes. For fuck's sake. With a sigh, I remind myself that my first class today is with Kurosawa. If there is a hell, I'm certain that it would be preferable to his classes. Preferable? Comparable? Grumbling all the way with dread, I make my way into school. As I reach the door of the classroom, a familiar face catches my eye. Yuri? Yuri gasps in surprise as her eyes look to mine. She catches her chest to ease her breathing. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you like that.
You didn't scare me, Hallie. I just didn't expect to see you here.
Note to self, try not to scare anyone else. Something then hits me. I didn't realize you were in Kurosawa's class.
Unfortunately, yes.
Guess that's something us two have in common. Although, isn't complaining more of a Natsuki thing?
My grades might be good, but I just wish the classes were easier to digest.
Makes two of us. As I lay with my back against the wall, neither me or Yuri say another word. That is, until Yuri gets next to me. I turn and notice she has the same faint blush on her cheeks from yesterday. Are you okay?
Yes. I was just wondering if we could...
She pauses momentarily, but I soon hear her mumble.
He's going to think I'm weird.
Yuri?
I was wondering if we could sit together in class today.
I know Kurosawa is strict with most things, but the seating plan ain't one of them. Still, it's not usually something you'd get nervous about asking. And then again, this is Yuri after all. I know being upfront about this isn't something she's confident with. In a way, it's kinda admirable. Yeah, of course. Yuri beams. Her efforts have paid off. As if on cue, the bell then rings and we head in. I can't help but notice Yuri's seems a little more lively during class. Seems. It's nice to see, of course, but I can't shake the feeling that there's more to her excitement than she's letting on. Like, much more than she's letting on. The bell finally rings for lunch, and I head out of class and straight for the rooftop. It felt quite relaxing yesterday, so why not? I can't help but still feel a little tense after my interaction with Yuri this morning. Sure, it was nice seeing her a little more lively, but it felt a little too lively. I swear I caught her making a good few glances at me during class, almost like she wanted something, but she was too scared to ask. Exactly what that something is, I don't have the slightest clue. Still lost in my thoughts, I open the rooftop door and make my way towards the same bench as yesterday. Before I sit down, I catch a glimpse of Monica, causing my heart to beat more steadily as a smile comes over my face. I guess Monica must have heard me as she looks back, smiling and waving back equally as cheerily.
Hey, Hallie.
Instantly taken from my inner turmoil regarding Yuri, I wave back. Hey! I go over and sit next to her. A faint blush overcomes the pair of us, but Monica seizes the moment and sparks a conversation as we start to eat.
So, how's your day been?
It's been okay so far. I start first looking at Monica and then out. Kurosawa's class was, well, the usual. That manages to get a chuckle out of Monica.
Anything else?
Part of me considers whether to tell her about my suspicions regarding Yuri, but I decide to ignore it. This isn't like the British spelling of suspicion, is it? Because it would be a C, at least in American English. Wouldn't be right for me to talk about people like that. Nothing much, no. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Monica follows my gaze to the surrounding cityscape. We remain like this for a few moments. Just the two of us, staring longingly at the seemingly never-ending space around us. It almost feels romantic to some degree. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice that Monica has inched herself ever so closer to me. My heart rate slowly but surely starts to increase. Though not as much as it does when she rests her head on my shoulder. Stay calm, stay calm. I try to ease my breathing, but no matter how hard I try, my chest feels like that of an unlucky crew member on the Nostromo. I don't know what that is, I'm not enough of a nerd. How Monica hasn't noticed yet is beyond me. Unless she has, but doesn't want to say something. I eventually calm myself enough to speak to her. You okay? I feel her nod against my shoulder.
Yeah, it's just a bit tired.
Why doesn't that sound like the truth? I playfully nudge her, causing her to giggle gently. Do I have to get you a can of coffee before club? I jokingly taunt her. She looks up at me, a little surprised.
If you wanna.
She seems a little flustered. Again, I was joking initially. However, her reaction would make me feel a little bad if I didn't. I insist. I speak, feigning confidence in my own words. It's a response that makes her smile either way. The bell then rings, signaling the final third of the school day. Monica takes herself off my arm and we start heading back. In a way, I'm thankful that people rarely come up here. If anybody'd seen Monica laid on me like that, let's just say the rumor mill would be in bloody overdrive. Once Monica and I head back down, we walk for a bit as we make our way to class. Some of the students that were near the stairwell did give the pair of us suspicious looks, but not one word was said. Thank whichever deity is out there for that. Eventually, we find ourselves outside my IT class, one of the other few classes I actually enjoy. I'll see you at the club, okay? I speak, grabbing the door handle as I do so.
See you then.
She then goes off to her own class with a noticeable bounce to her step. I then head inside and admittedly, my focus during class is almost non-existent. Pretty sure it's an inexistent. Monica dominates the most part of my thoughts. I find myself sighing as I get lost in my head. I really have fallen for this girl, haven't I? After the sixth and final class of the day drags to its end, I make my way into the corridor and to the nearest vending machine. Don't need this apostrophe, that would be it is end. Making good on my promise from earlier, I pull out some coins and get 2 cans of coffee. One for myself and one for Monica. After I've put them in my pockets, I start making my way up to the club. It's a mostly silent walk until a voice catches my attention.
Hallie?
I turn around and, sure enough, Yuri's standing right there. Almost like she was waiting. I doubt that was the case, though. Oh, hey, Yuri. You just get out?
Yes.
Yuri answers quite shyly. And that, in itself, is fairly standard for her, but considering this morning... No, I'm just overthinking it. I don't think you are. No worries. Anyway, I'm just about to head up to the club. You wanna walk with, or... Hold on, I saw something. You'll want to make that a period, I guess, so that the A can stay capitalized.
I'd like that, yes.
I then make enough space for Yuri to get next to me, and we start to walk. The walk with Yuri was quiet. After how hectic my last class was, it is some much-needed silence. However, as was the case in Kurosawa's class, Yuri did make the occasional glance at me. This looks wrong to me. I'm pretty sure there's only supposed to be one S. It's hard to remember the spelling of words sometimes when I'm playing things. I open the club room door, and we both head in, initially going our separate ways before we're stopped by Natsuki. Yeah, once again, separate.
There you two are. I was worried I'd be the only one in today.
Natsuki's voice comes off more as a concerned whine. Although that does bring up an important question. Monika's not here yet? Natsuki focuses her attention on me. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm surprised she didn't tell you that she'd be late, Hallie.
Wait, why?
Why else would you two have been on the roof earlier? Being glued in school, you freaking animals!
Whilst Natsuki seems to be reveling in my current embarrassment, Yuri seems dejected by her comments, almost as if a part of her died inside. Dejected. Just how did Natsuki find out? Unless it was those students from the stairwell. I sigh deeply. Natsuki, it wasn't...
Oh, it wasn't?
Words.
What else could...
Easy down, Pinkie Pie, it's not like that. My face probably looks like a beet right now. My comment seems to lighten Yuri's mood a bit, with her bursting out into a genuine laughter. You don't need an A there. Natsuki, however, looks like she could rush me and make my nose as red as my cheeks. Again, it'd be funny if she wasn't capable of it. She goes to say something, but the door opens.
Sorry I'm late. Hope I didn't worry anyone.
Natsuki goes to say something, but I quickly interject, pointing my strawberry shortcake. As before, Yuri bursts into laughter, now being joined by Monika. Natsuki scowls at me. Either that, or she's burst a blood vessel.
If you weren't my friend, I'd beat the shit out of you right now.
Guess I should have called her Chucky instead. With that out of the way, Yuri and Natsuki go to their usual activities, whilst Monika and I head to the front desk. From across the room, Natsuki gives us both a playful glare of judgment. Monika doesn't notice it, but she can be a pain in the ass. It's nice having a friend where you can tease each other to kingdom come, but knowing it's just that. Jokes. Where you can. Once Monika sits down, I take one of the cans out of my pocket and place it on the desk. She looks first at the can and then back at me.
Hallie.
I told you I would. I smile at her, starting to drink out of my own can. Monika smiles back, but she seems a lot more.
You didn't have to do that, you know.
But I wanted to. I mean, I just thought that it'd be...
Thank you.
Monika breaks through my stammering with her voice and a gentle, sincere smile. We remain silent like this for about a minute, until Natsuki's shrill voice breaks the spell.
For Christ's sake, get a room, you two!
Both our faces flush over with a blush, though Monika's seems to be a bit deeper than mine. Not being arsed with another name-calling contest with her, I flip Natsuki the bird with a smug grin on my face. Natsuki does the same. Cheeky little shite. I turn back to Monica, who's smiling through a thick veil of crimson. Sorry about Natsuki.
Oh no, it's okay. Just Natsuki being Natsuki, I suppose.
There's a moment of silence between us two, aside from a few nervous giggles from Monica as we drink our coffee. Canned coffee certainly isn't my preferred way to drink, but it's not that bad. After finishing, I take both cans and put them in the bin. Yeah. I also let Monica know that I'm gonna try get some reading done as I make my way to the bookshelf. I pick up a smaller book, head to a nearby desk, and start to read.